Hi, everybody. I'll start off the presentation by saying thank you for giving us this opportunity to work in the renewable energy field. We put a lot of work into this project, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I wanted to start off with my introduction and the team's introduction. So go to the next slide, please. So hello, my name is Dylan Hiltz. I'm a power engineering technology or PET major at Maine Maritime Academy. I'm a senior, and I do have previous experience in the renewable energy industry. I worked with wind and solar, and I do have a passion for renewable energy, and I'm going to be working with Next Era Energy Resources soon after I graduate. And I'm going to be handing this off to Wolfgang Redman.
Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Yeah, as he said, I am Wolfgang Redman. I am also a power engineering technologies major here at Maine Maritime. I'm also a senior. I have had 2 summer internships in the solar, solar industry. I worked in the operations and maintenance department for my first one, and I worked as a control room monitor for the second internship. And I brought a lot of leadership experience to our team from my time in the Regiment of Midshipmen here at the Academy. Next up is Seth Pellerin.
Thank you, Wolfgang. I'm also a power engineering technology senior at Maine Maritime. I've had 2 summer internships at the Penobscot Energy Recovery Company, which is a waste to energy plant in Orrington, Maine. And I'm entering the gas turbine maintenance industry. And you can hand it over to Xavier Liu.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Xavier Liu. I'm also a power engineering technology senior here at MMA, and I spent the last 2 summers working at the Linden Cogeneration plant down in New Jersey. So I really don't have too much background in solar. However, like I said, this whole learning experience was pretty interesting for me, learning about the new technology and stuff. And I'm aspiring to be a EINC technician. Next slide, please.
So for our during this presentation, we are going to go over an introduction to the competition, although we'll probably cut that a little short since we all know about it, and that's more for the capstone course. We're going to go over our district case. So we're going to go over the University of Florida a little bit. We're going to go over how we scheduled our stuff and how we planned out the competition. And we're going to go over what we learned and then just a general conclusion. Next slide, please. So what was our goal for the competition? We wanted to learn more about solar, as we've described. Not all of us have a solar experience, and not all of us have a lot of solar experience. Me personally, I have no experience in the planning and design phase of solar, so that was extremely valuable for me to learn and get experience in. We wanted to work on being able to improve our collaboration and working within a team. It's something our major prides itself on, is our ability to work in a team and manage teams and stuff. So that was something that was reinforced by this project a lot. And as I stated, we wanted to experience all the design angles. So we rotated throughout the project what parts and what roles we played within the project. So we all got to experience the same things. Next slide, please. So as I stated, our district case was the University of Florida. As we all know, we're all in the same meeting for it. They want about 4 megawatts of renewable generation, although they already have about 0.35 megawatts. So we had to make sure we didn't overshoot too much on that desire for them. There's a lot of potential locations on the campus. It's really hard for me to point out, but like in that center area where there's like this little thing, there's a bunch of parking garages, and parking garages are really perfect for solar. So there's a lot of really good locations for us to work with on the campus. And the campus wants to be carbon neutral by 2025. So this project should be very valuable in helping them with that. Next slide, please. So how we organized our project. We had weekly meetings on Teams every Tuesday throughout the project. We met every Tuesday to go over what needed to be done, what we did the week before, just general discussion and stuff. We also had meetings on Thursdays to kind of wrap up what we did that week and help each other with some capstone turn-ins that we had to do for the project, but that's not that important for this part. We assigned our group members to different parts of the project. We tried to split it up as evenly as possible. That way we all had roughly the same amount of like workload and stuff. We're all seniors, so it's a pretty busy time for us. So we couldn't just not plan it properly. We had to try our best to plan it the best we could. We had a project group chat where we could reach out if anybody needed help, needed to like schedule a last minute meeting, something like that. We had a group chat to help us with that. Next slide, please. So for our district, we split it up into 4 different sections. Seth Pellerin got the Northwest, I got the Northeast, Dylan Hiltz got the center, and Xavier got the South section. As you can see on I think it's the right of our screens, you can see the district and how we broke it off into our different sections. We tried to break it up as evenly as possible. That way we all got roughly the same amount of like buildings and stuff to work with. So that's how we did that. Next slide, please. So the hardware we decided to go with for the project, obviously one of the first things you have to do when planning out a solar site or a solar project is what hardware you're going to use. Like one of the first steps. So for our modules, we picked the REC 420 AA Pure Rs. Excuse me. For the inverters, we used a various different amount of Solar Edge inverters. We had to pick a lot of different inverters because the different arrays in the project are different sizes, and really wasn't a good. We couldn't just pick one for the whole project. For our optimizers, we picked S500Bs. And for our mounting equipment, we used Parasol mounting equipment for our carports. We used Snap and Rack for our angled rooftops, and we used Snap and Rack for our flat rooftops. Next slide, please. So as I stated, we picked the REC 420 AA Pure R panels. We picked them because they're a really good panel. They have 420 watt generation. They're 80 cells. They don't take up a lot of space either, so they're really able to fit a bunch of them on one rooftop. They're also really good with efficiency. Around a 22% cell efficiency is really good with a very low degradation, like with a pretty good annual degradation of about a quarter percent per year. So they were really good, and they should last throughout our the project's lifetime. Next slide, please. I'm going to pass it off to Seth Pellerin. He's going to go over the different sections.
And thank you, Wolfgang. So this was the Northwest section. This was my section. It had quite a few buildings, a lot of which could put solar on pretty efficiently. As you can see in that top right picture, there's that's the picture that has all the solar on it, and it's the solar panels are the yellow, and there's you can see little green lines. That's where the panels are connected and eventually go to their inverters. For the stats, this section is able to produce a little over 1,200 kilowatts at a time, has 3,058 panels. There's 22 different inverters of various wattages, and the approximate cost is around $4 million, and it should be able to be paid back in 9 3/4 years. And next slide, please. So this is the Northeast section. This is Wolfgang's section. He also, like my section, had a lot of buildings that were pretty flat on top and were pretty good places to add solar. For his power generation, he had over 0.5 megawatt of power. He was able to put over 1,200 panels on his section, and he had 9 various inverter sizes. His approximate cost was 1.7 million, and his payback period is about 11 years. And next slide, please. And so this is Dylan Hiltz's section. he was able to, it's the center section, he was able to fit all of his power generation on just the rooftop of one parking garage, and was able to use those carpool racks in order to do that. His power generation is 1500, over 1500 kilowatts. I needed 3,800 panels, and he used 13 Solar Edge 100 kilowatt inverters. The cost of his section is over 5 million, and the payback period is over 8 3/4 years. And next slide, please. And finally, this is Xavier Vuillet's section. He had a lot of kind of tricky buildings to put solar on, with a lot of slanted roofs and that sort of thing. So we didn't put a ton on his section. He was able to produce 181 kilowatts. Used 431 panels. Used 3 various types of Solar Edge inverters. The cost of his section was a little less than $600,000, and his payback period was a little less than 12 years. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dylan Hiltz for the financial portion of the project.
Thank you, Seth and Wolfgang. I noticed we are running a little bit low in time, so I'm going to try to speed through this. So what I wanted to do is use our knowledge of engineering economics that we developed throughout our school years to kind of create a cost analysis. So this is a fairly simple cost analysis of the system. Just an example of the northeast section. We all did our own cost analysis of our sections. Next slide, please. So here's a nice little pie chart graphic of our rooftop versus carport solar. It's majority rooftop, however, it's pretty close to 50-50. We have about 3.6 megawatts of solar generation on the site, just below the 4 megawatt capacity, additionally with the already pre-installed solar on the campus. Total cost of construction alone, including the panels and carports and racking, is 11.68 million. An average payback period of around 8.75, 9-ish years. We included sales tax exemptions on the final prices, according to Florida's guidelines, the 30% federal tax credit, and our total amount of power generation is it's over the 2 megawatts for the net metering. However, there are no arrays above 2 megawatts on the site. So next slide, please. So here's just a chart of the overall project payback period. It's what to expect, about a $14 million gross cash flow income by 25 years. Next slide, please. I also wanted to include some payments from Aurora's model. So this is the NICO commercial 4-year cash plan. Similar results to what we calculated, which was nice to see. This is just for the central section, however. Next slide, please. So what we learned a lot about working as a team, kind of just coordinating efforts to get the job done. We did encounter problems with some scheduling. I think next time we probably would have done, what we would have changed is probably how we scheduled the project, what work the students were about to do. But what went well, I really did enjoy us 4 working on separate sections to all just come together and create a final product, each of our own efforts. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, I told you guys about the roof versus carport. The carports were provided by Parasol, and the lifespan does exceed the payback period at around 9 years, and there is options for battery backup, especially a good opportunity for the carport design that I made. Next slide, and that'll be it. So I think we're just under 15 minutes, or just about. It's 12:30, so feel free to ask any questions for us.